Hi everybody, in this project I am going to show you how to make a butterfly with watercolors. And if you do not have watercolors, that's fine, just use whatever you have available. If you are going to do this with acrylics, make sure your acrylics are thinned down if you do not have watercolors. Alright, let's start. Supplies that we're going to need for this project are a pencil, eraser for sketching. Make sure you have a thick brush. I have a medium brush and a small one for details. The colors that we're going to need are yellow, red, blue, and black. Make sure you have a cup of water and also a paper towel to wipe off the brush. We're going to start by splitting the page. Very often, actually, I do this. I split my space of work in 4 squares, and this kind of helps me and guides me where I am going to go or where I am going to start with this. So after we split our paper, we're going to start from this point and going down. This is going to be the first wing of our butterfly. And let's put another dot right here. Let's make another wing here. So it's like half circle, so a curved line. And that's going to be our second wing. And let's go back to the same point. Let's do the third one here. So don't be afraid to scribble, don't be afraid to make few lines at the same time. It does not really matter because we are going to erase this anyway. You're not going to see anything. And once we have this, then we can just put them together. We can create the wings. And then the last one here. So that's it for the wings. Let's continue with the body of the butterfly. We're going to do the head first. So for the head, I'm going to do an oval. And pay attention to the distance between the head and the body. And then for the body here, I'm going to do like a curvy line. The reason why, because it's when you look at the butterflies close up, like with a close view, their body really does have the curvy line. And then just go down here to make this a bit thinner. Okay, so now that we decided where the body of butterfly goes, I'm going to make this a bit more perfect, I would say. So the line at the top, it's not as curvy as the line at the bottom. It is a bit curvy, but they're not the same. And the first part here, it's a bit thicker and bigger than the end of the body. Let's make this a bit thinner here at the end. Okay. And then we're going to do the little antennas. So one of the antennas it's attached to the head. Then the other one, it is not. We go like that. Now in real life you wouldn't see them like this. It's just because we're creating an artwork, that's why we're kind of changing it a little bit. And then now that I have all the big or the measurements, so this way I know where everything goes, we can erase the lines. So let's do that. And sometimes I find it easier to wipe this off with either a piece of cloth. It depends what you are using, depends on what you are using, or you can wipe this off with a paper towel, and it's much cleaner. So after we have done the sketching, we're going to start with color. Big brush, and we are going to start with yellow color. So starting from the top, the first wing here. Now when I do these colors, as you see, I am going to leave a bit of white spaces in between, so I'm not coloring everything. Make sure your watercolors are thinned down. They shouldn't be too thick, because if they're thick, it's very hard to work with. Now, I am not going to go until the end, and the reason why is because we're going to add black outlining with that, so we need this white space. And here in between the two wings, I am leaving this white space as well. So for watercolors, the secret is that the colors have to be very light and flowy. And I think that for this project, watercolors are perfect, because that's what we want to do. We want to make this butterfly thin and airy and light. So that's it for yellow. The second color we are going to use, so make sure you wipe your brush here because it's a lot of yellow in there. It's going to be color red. Now we're not going to mix it with yellow, we're simply going to put it on top of the color yellow that we had before, and this is going to change it to orange. Now when we do that, again, make sure your color is thinned down. And it's time to fill out those white spaces that we left earlier at the beginning, but at the same time, I'm still leaving them, so I'm still not coloring everything. And the beauty of watercolors is that it's because the watercolors are very light pigments, you don't really have to put too much pressure or too much color in there, because they flow really easy compared to acrylic colors. So if you are going to do this with acrylics, make sure your paint is nice and flowy and thin down. Alright, so I've still left a bit of white in between, and when I put the paint here, so in both wings, make sure you have this white space. All right, let's go down to the third one. So this time I'm starting from the end, from the bottom here, and then going up. And then when we do this, when we spread this with the brush, you are going to see that there is a difference in color. The more pigment you'll put, the stronger the color will be. And then at the same time, sometimes what I do is just simply wipe off the brush and then go with water. You don't really need too much color, because the butterflies are very thin, very airy, I should say. And see how I'm going with just a bit of color here. It was just simply water, but my brush already has some paint in it. So just going around with a bit of water spreading that color. Very nice and thin. Let's wipe the brush here. So we're going to let this dry for now and then we'll come back to it. All right, the next part, it's going to be the body of the butterfly, and we're going to do this with color blue. So we're going to do the whole thing blue first. And then after we are done with that color, we're going to add a bit of black on top of it. But first I'd like to put the same block of colors, and then I go and add the second layer of colors. Okay, and then going up here. And then the third color, it's going to be black. Now I switched brushes. Make sure for this detail, you are going to use a thin brush. Make sure your black paint is thinned down. And we're going to start from the top here. So if you make a dot, and go down. Now the beauty of this is that when you leave white parts or when the paint is not all the same, it's just perfect. Okay, and at the same time, leaving these white spaces here. Now let's go center, middle. And then just make sure you do like a wavy line in there. The last one. Now for the last wing here, it's okay if your colors are not dry. Sometimes they will blend like this part, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We're going to make another line, like parallel lines together here. Then make sure you attach this together here. And also at the same time, we're putting a bit of black here in the corner. Once we do that black, make sure you thin this down with water. And what this does, it kind of puts the illusion of the dust that butterflies have in their wings. So wipe this off, clean it with a bit, just water. And then just blend the black color together here. Alright, so that's it for the first one. Let's move on to the second wing. I'm going to put a bit of black here. And then again, we're going to do another line on the inside. And this time, starting from here and then going down. Because we want this to be a bit different here. And then with a thick line, and just spreading this black. It's like like the branches of a tree, I would say. Kind of spreading around a little bit. And then with water, let's blend this black. And if you want to go on the outside as well, that's fine also. You can do that. And let's blend this back with our red here in the middle. Okay. Moving on to the last wing. Let's start from the middle. And again, we're simply going to spread the black color just like we did on the other ones. But not too much though, make sure you don't put too much black because we still want to see our orange underneath. We don't want to cover that. Because blacks could be very, very strong sometimes. And then the last thing that we're going to touch is the body of the butterfly. So I'm going in one side with black, and I'm leaving the belly down below with blue. So we're not touching that part. Let's blend this black a little bit here. Okay, so as you see, it's a mixture of black and blue together. Here we're going to do like a drop or an oval. And we're not going too far. So see here at the end, I've left the color blue. So we're doing black only at the beginning. But as we go down, we make this thinner and thinner, lighter, and we just end up with blue. And that's it for this project, guys. So what I can recommend is with just a little bit of black, if you want to do that. It's perfectly fine the way it is with white background, but just in case you want to put a bit of color in there, I would put just a little bit of black and very thin down for the background here. And I'm doing this only in one side. Again, because I don't want the background to be too heavy. I want to put my attention more into the butterfly rather than on the background. And as I do this, I'm doing this with very light paint, a very small touch of black, I would say, and at the same time I'm still leaving some white spaces. And sometimes if I find it that the paint is way too thick for me or too dark, I simply dab it with paper towel and that makes it lighter. And that's it for this project, guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next one. Bye-bye.